How many generations do we have? 4 generations. So it was in the 4th generation after the departure, are you with me, from the presence of God, that Lamech came. It was in Lamech's time that, he was the one that pioneered polygamy. Now, this was a civilization that was established apart from God, but it yet took 4 generations for a man to be bold enough to take in 2 wives. So you are not with me. There was still some form of regulation until a generation came, 4 generations down the line, where another layer of possibility in darkness found expression, and Lamech was empowered to create another pattern. Are you with me? And so this, I don't have time to walk it. It's a long journey. Many things were worked out. Many pioneers came to add to that civilization that was established apart from what? Don't forget that. These were the pioneers of what John eventually, through prophetic sight, called the cosmos. And it was John that had the greatest revelation of the world system, because he mentioned the cosmos much more than any other preacher in the entire Bible. Now, when that civilization began to grow, meanwhile there was another civilization. This was the civilization of Cain, that Cain pioneered. I used to stay with me. There were still some guys that did not go with Cain. Those ones were still trying to see if there was any possibility with God. But Cain had gone to establish his own system. And this system was growing very large. By the time we go to Genesis chapter 6, you are going to see how that Cain's system was growing larger than the other system that he left. Because if you start an adventure and you remove righteousness from it, initially it will look as if fraud pays faster. Corruption thrives so quickly. You can make quick money. That's the kind of thing that we see in Genesis 6. Men began to multiply. Meanwhile, the foundation was wrong, but there was multiplication, there was evidence, there was breakthrough. And by the time we go to the book of Judges, you will discover that the civilization that God established, that other civilization, threatens its existence, its purity. Israel will begin to worship God now, serving God, worshiping Jehovah. And the next thing you will see is that somebody will bring one idol. And before you know it, Israel has moved out. And Israel is in sin. They have forgotten Jehovah. A prophet will be crying, repent, repent. Danger is coming, danger. Oh, they won't hear until danger comes and sweeps the entire nation. And then they'll now be in captivity. They'll now say, oh, God of our fathers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac. And then God will arrange a rescue strategy and bring them back to him. And few years after their deliverance, they will go that same way. Why is it that they are not going extreme with God? They are always going in one direction, away from God. Because that's the civilization that Cain established. It's a civilization that was established apart from God, and it is designed to take men away from God. So spiritual scientists now discover that there was a system at work that was working in the context of human endeavor that had the capacity to take men away from God. You see, when you come into the banking system, for instance, and then in order for you as a female person, well endowed, and then they now tell you how the system works, and this, your beauty has a value here. The system is built on several principles that are not righteous. It is Cain's civilization that is running that platform. And you come there as a son of God. You are supposed to raise the standard, and then you begin to find contention and persecution because the system is running with the principles of Cain. Are you still with me? Many people have got into those systems and they found themselves drifting, how? Away from God. That science is locked on the foundations that men like Cain pioneered. Are you still with me? It seems there's somebody here that was hit in the banking world. You drifted because the amen went down. I noticed. You don't need to decide to get involved. The system can work things out. And at the end of the day, you will be away from God. Do you understand? You don't need to agree. No, just flowing with the system alone guarantees that your end point is where? Away from God. So the question here is, who is he that overcomes the world? Because a normal human being cannot. There is no school you can go to that will be so discerning enough to survive the system, to overcome it. It is so ancient, more ancient than your grandfather.